Oscar nominees are out, and there's lots of surprises and snubs to discuss. And I have two panelists here that are never short on words or verbiage. But to kick off this segment, I would love to ask y'all, just in one word, what was your initial reaction to the Oscar nominations when you woke up this morning, Jacqueline?
I'm a little bit schizophrenic. I'll get to that later, but it was a little divided on what the Academy was viewing as, noteworthy and not.
Okay, schizophrenic. She's going with the $10 words right off the bat. Scott, your one word to describe the
One
Oscar
word,
nominations.
one word, my friends. Excited, 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 excited. Lots to talk about, lots of snubs, lots of surprises, lots of worthy films. We're going to get to it all right now.
Well, let's talk about Best Picture now. Black Panther, Bohemian Rhapsody, Green Book, A Star is Born, Black Klansman, The Favorite, Roma, and Vice. How about Black Panther, though? I mean, being a comic book film, coming in and beating a huge movie like Avengers Infinity War, why was Black Panther the movie that got the nomination when there's so many other comic book movies in the past that got snubbed?
That's a very good point, and because a movie like Avengers, which I think it was such an anticipated film, but what Black Panther represents, not just the diversity, but the gender equality. The movie is called Black Panther, but that movie is an ensemble. It's a great ensemble, and it is a trailblazer and a groundbreaker because of those merits, and that's why it deserved to get nominated for Best Picture.
I mean, I think obviously all those things are true, but I don't think that is really the recipe that got it. I really think, again, like Ryan Coogler, and then again, everybody he enlisted to be a part of making this film, they understood the mandate that this film and what they did on screen and also what it represented was going to be bigger than that. So the only job they had was to make a really compelling, tight story that regardless of the fact that it's Marvel, that people would enjoy it. And I think that's why it resonated. It was a movie that was able to, basically put like palace intrigue and weave it into parts of like the social landscape where people are asking more poignant and like pushing through with other questions based on what they saw on screen. That's the reason why it works.
The actual nominations, Jack, when you look at the 8 out of a possible 10 that we got, what was the biggest surprise to you?
I mean, I think the biggest surprise I would say is actually the one that was not on the list, and that's If Beale Street Could Talk, but that's another talk for another day.
And a fair point to make,
We can break that one down. But honestly, I would say Vice, because this was a divisive film to kind of, borrow a little bit into that. I mean, that's why it's 64% on a Tomatometer. Didn't necessarily resonate that well with critics. Didn't get a lot of love in the critical circles. LA film critics, New York film critics, the big groups kind of, besides the broadcast film critics, they gave it to Christian Bale.
Twice.
Yeah, twice, exactly. Which I think is what it deserves, but a Best Picture, I just didn't feel it.
Right now, Bohemian Rhapsody is one of the lowest rated movies to be nominated, according to Tomatometer, since Les Miserables back in 2012.
Wow.
Les Mis was 69%. Bohemian Rhapsody right now, 62%. And then you also have Vice that is bringing down the overall tomato meter. So the average score for Best Picture of the 2018 nominees for the 2019 ceremony is 84.9% on the tomato meter. That may sound good. It's a solid B average. It'll get you into a lot of colleges. However, last year it was 92.3%, and the year before it was 92.4%.
They're always, if you would average them out, 90s, because again, critical consensus. And you can say what you want to about my opinion about both Vice and Bohemian Rhapsody. A vocal minority disapproved of both of those films.
How about this? I can give you all the critics' consensus for Bohemian Rhapsody, too. They say Bohemian Rhapsody hits a handful of high notes, but as an in-depth look at a beloved band, it offers more of a medley than a true greatest hits collection. And Scott, I know that you were surprised, maybe a little shocked at some people that did not get nominated for Best Director.
Well, the directing category was huge this year because of who did not get nominated. I mean, I definitely felt like Peter Farrelly should have been nominated for Green Book. He did get a Directors Guild nomination. The movie won Best Picture at the Producers Guild Awards. But the bigger snub here clearly is Bradley Cooper for A Star is Born. This movie peaked very early in the season, like right at the trifecta of film festivals of Venice and then Toronto. And the problem is that you cannot be a frontrunner and stay a frontrunner for 6 straight months.
You think it peaked too early?
The film didn't have anybody it was going up against. We're not going to argue the merits of A Star is Born, but one thing I will say about this is the fact that I don't think it was because it came too early. I think it didn't generate enough buzz to keep it going because other films came up at that time. Green Book, Roma, If Beale Street. Say what you want to about those films, at least their conversations didn't slow down.
Is it because Bradley Cooper's a first-time director and
No.
he is a movie star, and so we figure we can nominate his movie for Best Picture, we don't have to worry about the director?
No, I think they fell in love with some of the more auteur ones. Again, if you're going to say one that took its slot, it's Pavel.
But also, you're talking about a movie that has now been done 4 times.
Yeah.
It's not an original film. It's a third remake. You know, you look at 1937, 1954, 1976, and yes, Mr. Movie release dates, 2018. If a movie's been done that many times, no matter how great it is, he directed the hell out of it. It is a very, very good movie. It is solid in every respect, but it's not original. It's not a trailblazing, unique film like Roma.
Also give a shout out to Roma simply because it got nominated for Best Picture and it was the first Netflix film to do so. And when we look at the other surprises, maybe some snubs that we feel in some of the other major categories, Jacqueline, I know you have a Netflix movie on your mind. What surprised you this year?
Yeah, give it up for Netflix because they got 3 nominations off of The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, and nobody had that movie on their list.
Yeah.
Definitely not for adapted. Certainly, I mean, maybe for Best Song, which is one of the nominations that they got, but definitely not for Best Costumes was the other one. Like, nobody had that on their list.
But for Roma, wow, 10 nominations for Roma. So not only is it the first streaming movie to get nominated for Best Picture, it's going to be the first streaming movie to win.
One that I do think was an actual snub is Barry Jenkins for If Beale Street Could Talk. It only ended up with 3 nominations total for the film, and in a world where a Vice and a Bohemian Rhapsody could somehow outshine a film like that, it just goes to show you that this was not about, in my opinion, the quality. It was just people voting for what they liked.
And there's no female directors that were nominated of the 5, and I think one of the bigger snubs would be Lynn Ramsey.
Yeah.
And you could pair that with even Joaquin Phoenix, maybe consideration for Best Performance.
Lynn Ramsey or Deborah Granick. Also, like Chloe Zhao. There was a ton of female filmmakers making extremely moving, heartfelt, Oscar-caliber movies that did not really get any attention from the Academy. Besides, Can You Ever Forgive Me, which obviously Marilyn Heller did that one, and then the screenplay got, one of our 2 female women.
director.
Yeah,
Right,
but
right.
not director.
Any other big snubs for y'all before we say goodbye here? Is it
Yeah.
Claire Foy or Emily Blunt?
Oh,
Best supporting
definitely
actress?
Emily Blunt. I mean,
Justice for Ethan Hawke and Toni Collette. That's the only things I have to sign off
Toni
for.
Collette, that's a great call with Hereditary.
Hereditary, Toni Collette, and also Ethan Hawke. 2 films, also both by A24, so have to shout out A24, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Only had Paul Schrader for First Reform screenplay is the only thing they got. Yeah, those 2 performances, the fact that they could not be recognized by the Academy in a year that, granted, had a ton of stellar performances is just beyond me.
But for me, it's Emily Blunt, not just because she was nominated for lead actress at the SAG Awards for Mary Poppins Returns and supporting actress at the SAG Awards for A Quiet Place, but great year for Emily Blunt. Quiet Place premiered at South by Southwest in March. It opened the beginning of April. Big hit. It's an original film. She is superb in that movie. And then Mary Poppins Returns, the range that she displayed in this year, but also Claire Foy, also I thought overlooked for First Man, and Nicole Kidman, overlooked for supporting for Boy Erased, overlooked for lead for Destroyer.
And my biggest surprise, Won't You Be My Neighbor did not get nominated for Best Documentary. Hey, Mr. Rogers, if you wanted to get nominated, maybe you should have climbed El Capitan. And with that, we're going to say thank you and goodbye for now, but make sure you guys subscribe right here to this YouTube channel and go to RottenTomatoes.com for all the latest nomination and award coverage. And comment below, what was the biggest snub or surprise in your opinion? We want to hear from you. We'll see you guys real soon.